Good to go? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get this meeting going, but I just want to remind everyone, especially people that are going to come up here and talk and give a presentation, we have a full agenda to get through tonight, and we get cut off at like 8:30. So please be cognizant of that. I don't want to disrespect anybody by trying to cut them off when they're trying to make a point. So just, be as concise as possible. Keep your time between 5 and 10 minutes so we can allow for some questions from the commission as well as from the audience. So with that, I'd like to bring this meeting to order, and we can call roll.
6E01, 6E02,
Present.
6E03, 6E04, present, 6E05,
Present.
6E06, 6E07.
Excellent. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
Seconded, or I make a motion
So
to.
moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. All right, so the agenda is approved. Now we have our MPD. Do we have the representative from District 1? All right, District 3? Floor is yours.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm Captain Scott. I am the Sector 2 Captain for the 3rd District. And that encompasses 305, 306, and 308. The New Orleans area concerning 308. And 308 is like that. We're not doing really poorly in 308, but let me just give you some ideas of what we're dealing with in 308 right now. Right now, our total crime, we had in the same period, the last 30 days, we had 34 crimes. This period, we have 40. As far as our violent crimes, we had 4 this time last year, or last month. This time, this 30-day period, we have 3. And I'm not going to go through each and every one of them because I'm going to respect the timelines. But the thing that's driving us are theft remodels. During the last 30 days, we had 6. During this 30-day period, we have 17. And if I read from the mayor's report in each and every one of our theft remodels, it reads like this. Complainant C1, we call it C1, complainant 1, left their property inside of the car. Upon returning to the car, they found the window smashed. Taken was some sort of laptop, some sort of electronics, some sort of Bible, something like that. It reads over and over and over again. I cannot stress the importance of like safeguarding one's own property. What I preach and how I do what I do is I try to teach what's known as target hardening, how not to become a victim of crime. And that is because when we get out of our cars, whether you leave your door open or not, because you think the theft remodel guy's not going to knock your window in, he or she's going to do it anyway, because that's what certain guys do, plain and simple. You understand what I mean? So what I practice is prevention, 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 prevention. One of the other problems we had in one of the other sectors was up in the club zone area. The guys will go to the club zones. What they do is they'll get to the final point where they're going to park the vehicle. They get out of the car, they take their valuables off, they take their purses, they're standing out in the street, they put them in the trunk of the car. The theft remodel guy's standing right there, he's looking at you. When you go to the club, when you go to the place that you're going to patronize, when you come back, your window is smashed, that theft remodel guy goes inside of that car, punches that button, your valuables are gone. You understand what I mean? See, and everybody says, oh, the police. But the police can only do so much because we can't be every place at all times. So when we start talking about partnership, and I've been in police since 1979, we start talking about partnership, and what we do is sometimes we have to learn how not to become victims of crime. Albeit we say, okay, well, I should be able to leave my stuff in my car. If you can leave it in your car if you want to, go ahead. That's your call. Because you're the one got to replace it, right? Only thing you're going to do is come through and take a report. But what I'm trying to do is to teach us not to become victims of crime. I'm not trying to point fingers. None of that foolishness. It's not like that. It's not us against them. It's not adversarial. It's none of that foolishness. It's like educating. Like when you educate me, you tell me, hey, Cap Scott, such, such, such. If I'm not teachable, then I'm not going to learn about it. Plain and simple. But insanity is what? Practicing the same behavior over and over again and expect something different. So, there you got it. Anybody got any questions?
Chief?
Yes, sir.
Hi, good evening. I'm a member of the Friends of Kennedy Playground,
Understood.
And over the last several months, we have talked to their district
Yes.
in reference to the drugs in and outside of the playground. Can you give us a status report of what's really going on? We can't physically go out there and ask drug dealers, et cetera, to move. Can you give us a report?
Yeah.
Tony Brown is also a friend. He's also ANC Commissioner at SSFMD. So give us an update.
I will. We just recently had a meeting with Mr. Creek. That was name, what's the gentleman's name that came up from playground?
Chris.
Chris Reeves.
Yeah, Mr.
Chris,
Chris.
yes.
He just had a meeting with us about, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
One of the things we was trying to get put on the agenda as far as like parks and recs, they don't have anything where they actually subsidize monies for like security. They won't allow them to have money for securities. So what we're trying to do is press him to get money for securities. One of the other things we try to do with them down there is their CCTV footage. Cameras
Right.
are not in good repair. That was one of the other things we were trying to get done with that. Then the other thing we did was try to connect him up with like the sector sergeants and whatnot, so the sector sergeants, so that the sector sergeants could make sure that we actually have people there. So we have people there so that when we do the barring procedures, we actually can enforce the barring procedures. Mr. Crest was told not to approach these guys, but just to let us know.
I think the problem is your second shift. Mr. Kress is on the first shift.
Yeah,
After 4 o'clock, all hell break loose.
understand,
Okay, so we are looking at that.
understand.
He can't do it all by himself.
Oh, no, we now, trust and believe, right? We are with it. You understand? But see, it didn't get broke overnight, it won't get fixed overnight, but what we have to do is continually work at it. Now, while we continue to work at
Can
it,
you be much more visible?
sure.
Because there's no visibility right now.
Sure.
I'm being very honest with you.
But what has to happen is, now, when we have parks and recs and things like that, we have to have everybody get into the game. Everybody has to step up.
Have you asked him to
Yes,
get
I
to the
did.
game?
Yes, I did.
What's been the response?
There's no money in the budget for security.
Well, 2 summers ago, when there was a slew of shootings
Yes.
right at that block, they had through the falls, people there are stationed, and it,
Yeah, but now, that's the police, now we're responsible for the entire sector.
True.
Now, when we have parks and recs, we need those guys to get into the game. What I mean by that is this, they need to put in a budget, they actually need to have security on site.
well,
Like
we
it's
don't
simple.
have the authority to do that, so.
Yeah, but put it in the budget, make a proposal. Let them tell you no.
Well, I think the point is, A, there's a problem, and B, we don't want there to have to be another slew of shootings to
Yeah.
have them come up and
Right.
then notice it.
I'm with you entirely.
We all walk past there, we all see the problem, and
Right.
we never see the
Right.
station.
And there's an additional problem, as you may already know.
Yeah.
The people who are congregating in the area, they're very nomadic in nature. They'll travel
Understand.
from
Sure.
8th Street in front of the lady who has a shop, a
Right.
pastry shop there. Then a lot of people are parking outside of the business owners there where the nail shop and the barber shop is. A lot of times they call themselves slick, I think,
Oh,
but they stand out in front of the empty shop that used to be a beauty shop. There's no vendors there now. So they just sit there, then they'll move over to, so they keep moving from block to block to
Sure.
block.
Right.
It's just like hurting people.
Right.
We go to one place, they'll move to another. We go to another place, they move to another. They go to another place, they move to another. So forth and so on.
Look,
So is there,
Captain,
go ahead, Tony.
Let me just add to that.
Yeah.
We're trying to get a meeting next week, I think with Councilmember Allen, Director Allen, and all the whole.
Director Anderson also.
So hopefully we can sort of bring up some of that at that time.
Call me over. I'll tell you.
Okay,
I'd
great.
be more than happy to come.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else have anything?
How are we looking with the K2 outburst? I know we had
Oh,
notices
my God.
that there's a bad batch of K2 in DC.
Oh, Lord.
I've seen it.
I'm gonna tell you right, now, this is like, it's pretty widespread. And it's not just here, it's all over the city. And now, I'm not familiar with the account of where we are now, but it's one of these things that continually comes up daily. But it doesn't put a lot of stress on police services, but what it does do put stress on fire and ambulance services and things of that nature, right? But it's coming up in some of the challenged areas, like in the homeless people, some of the homeless shelters, some of the folks where folks flock at, like in the homeless encampments and things like that. And we having a lot of it, second and D, is that right, Liv? A lot of second and D and all the rest of that. But it's not putting a lot of stress as far as police resources concerned, but it's stressing out, it's putting a significant stress on fire department.
Maybe I'll speak to it a little bit.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Captain Durham with First District. So we have Mount Vernon
Right.
and Sursum Corda areas for your and C. But I have Union Station, I have the Second and D shelter, and that's where we're seeing a lot of it. You might have heard in July, we had a big overdose epidemic, and that was mainly in the first district. But this time around, we've seen it all across the city. We're hoping it's dying down again. The calls have been much less in the last week or so. It's been dying down quite a bit. But like Captain Scott was saying, it's been all over the city this time. And at least for the first district, actually, it has been a bit of a pull on our resources, just because the numbers that we're seeing, and we're usually there before the fire department gets there. But we've all been working together with all the city services, with DBH, the Deputy Mayor's Office of Health and Human Services has been taking the lead on a lot of it. So it's been a very comprehensive response again, but it has been a lot.
Question of clarification for me.
Yeah.
Is the supply coming from the street, or is it coming from some of these corner stores who have been guilty of selling?
No, it's not really coming from the corner stores anymore. So that was the issue when K2 first hit DC, 6-7 years ago, when it was being sold as like Scooby snacks. We aren't seeing that anymore. Now it's bulk. It's just like any other drug. It's coming through drug dealers. So it's not. If the corner stores are involved, any of that, that's not a direct link the way it used to be. We are going after the dealers. And again, a lot of this is kind of a public health emergency more than anything. So MPD is not taking the lead on a lot of it. Where we are taking the lead is trying to arrest the drug dealers specifically. We don't get a whole lot of bang for our buck in targeting users, so we're really trying to go after the dealers. And we have had some good arrests. We have several a week in the first district.
So you do have some intel on the dealers?
Yeah, we do. Oh, yeah. We have officers specifically detailed to that issue, and we've been getting arrests. It's hard, though, because, the way they get around the laws is changing the chemical compounds, and the mayor just announced, I think this last week, a new bill that would give us a little more power to prosecute these offenses. Because right now, if the chemical compound is just a little off, it doesn't fall within the drug statutes that we have on the books, and then we have a hard time prosecuting it. So yeah, that's where we're at. Like I said, hopefully it's on its way out again. And it's been a rough summer though for K2. Yeah.
Okay, anything
Thank you
else?
very much.
Anybody have anything else?
The woman that was murdered on 11th Street,
Yes.
is there any comments, guidance, thoughts?
Unfortunate, very unfortunate.
I mean, it was all over the country. I was in New Mexico and heard about it.
That's the actual closed matter, and that was an unfortunate and provoked matter. Unprovoked.
Unprovoked.
It was random.
No, it was random, it was a random killing. And I think it may be, and I don't want to comment a whole lot on that because that thing is still like ongoing as far as like still procedures or some of the things that are nature right. But that was just not one of those things that was driven by any particular reason that I know of.
But the person was very well known and had had several encounters, right, with law and justice in the city. That's what was reported at
Right.
least.
Only thing the police do is, that we arrest, we don't turn anybody loose. Now, we will arrest, we will present them. As far as the prosecution is concerned, that determination needs to be made by the U.S. Attorney's Office or the Office of the Attorney General. And then we go forward with, with the determinant. Okay? Anybody? I don't want to take any more of your time up.
Thank you very much, Captain.
I'm sorry, I was a little late. Does anyone
please.
have anything for the first district or?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I wanted to get a little more information on what happened to Safeway. This was like last month, but yeah.
We've had a few incidents at the Safeway. Is this the, which one are we?
This is the one where there was like some shoplifting and the security guard went to, I don't know, go after the shoplifter and shot themselves.
Oh, yes, that was a little while ago now.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what happened.
What concerned me is, has there been any kind of look into, and I kind of reached out to Safeway and haven't gotten a satisfactory response that, they're not actually, using weapons to go after shoplifters.
Correct, no, no, that is not my understanding that that's what happened.
Okay.
It was purely an accident. I don't think that, I have not seen any information or the concern has been raised that, they were using the weapon to confront a shoplifter.
Okay.
I will say that we do have a branch of the Metropolitan Police Department Security Officers Management Branch that does provide a supervisory role for all security, licensed security in the city. So they do review all these cases and conduct internal investigations, and they're involved in the licensing process along with DCRA. So we do have a review piece in there where we do review all their uses of force.
Okay,
So,
all right.
uh,
And that's not
and
standard policy to use a weapon for shoplifting?
No, that would definitely not be.
Good, good.
The only time we would use, their standard is the same as for us, or for any citizen, really, that you can only use deadly force or the threat of deadly force to prevent, death or serious bodily injury. And that's kind of a national standard, so they would fall under that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Got one question.
Yes, sir.
1D, right?
Yes, sir.
On the top of First and M Street, between North Cap and M,
Okay, yep,
the crowd used to be at Sturgeon Court.
yep,
They rotate and move down the Sibley Plaza area on that corner,
okay.
and on the lower part of L
Yeah.
Street. Is that being addressed?
On the lower part of L Street?
Yeah, First and L.
What side?
Little park on the bottom of Sturgeon Court. not-
Where that, like,
Oh,
little
like
park
in the
is.
alley there? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we're aware of it. We're aware that they move around, and we try to follow them around as best we can. And I know the kind of epicenter shifts depending on what we're doing, what the community's doing, what other factors are at play there. So,
Is
yes,
that district-owned property, or is that part of Sursum Corda?
the alley itself, I think.
That park area, alleys, I'm still.
Okay, the park is interesting. That is, my understanding, it is DC government property that was being managed by the private corporation, by the Sursum Corda Co-op. So right now, I think it's an open question of whether it'll be part of the development. We were
Well, they're
working.
here, they can probably answer that.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Was that right so far? Partially? Okay.
I live in East with the Walking Pond tonight. I represent Toll Brothers, which is the now owner of the former Sursum Corda site. That park site at First and L is actually owned by the National Park Service, and they are in the process of transferring jurisdiction of that park site to the district. And once that transfer is approved, the district and Toll Brothers will enter into a park improvement and maintenance agreement whereby Toll will be responsible for improving that park site and maintaining it for the life of the development.
So they can't put a fence there until that happens.
Until, right, ostensibly theoretically, once the transfer of jurisdiction takes place, they can probably work with the district in the short term to get a fence around that site, and we've talked about that, and that's probably, that has been recommended, but as of this time, they have no ability to do that.
Thank you.
All right, any more questions from the commission? Thank you very much,
Thanks so
Captain.
much. Take care.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Do we have any representative from District 5?
I don't see any.
No? All right, next on the agenda is the Pepco request for the BZA application. Last meeting, they came before us and gave a presentation. Now they're coming before us to ask for a vote. Can we just quickly have Pepco just recite the relief that's being requested before we vote?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Battle.
Thank you. Mark Battle, Pepco Regional Vice President for DC. We're requesting 3 variances. An area variance from the vehicle parking requirements of subtitle section C 701.5. An area variance from the bicycle parking requirement of subtitle C 802.1. And a variance from the trash room requirements of subtitle C 907. You want me to talk about why those are not necessary, or?
Well, no, I think you covered it
Okay.
last meeting. I just wanted to make sure that we have it on record what we're actually voting on right now.
Got it.
Sure.
Our recording secretary will be watching it via
Yeah.
camera. That's
Okay.
why.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Bao. Well, does the commission have any comments or questions? All right, with that, I'll take a motion to approve, I'll take a motion to approve the application.
I move that Advisory Neighbor Commission 6C support the BZA application to allow construction of the Mount Vernon substation and
request the establishment of a community advisory group for ongoing engagement and to provide guidance on topics such as future land use and themes for the public art program that's proposed there. The installation of an artistic fence, support for the relocation of the farm at Walker Jones, and support for a nonprofit serving the community, specifically students, children, and seniors. To note that Petco has made a commitment to provide $25,000 a year per year for 3 years to support those nonprofits.
Excellent, excellent. Anyone want to second that?
I'll second.
Excellent. It's in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's been approved. Thank you very much. Next up, this is that DC Reinvest request for support for the resolution that came before us last month. Did anybody have any kind of questions or comments or changes to the resolution that was sent around? No? All right. With that, I'll take a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, just to be clear, we're going to send this to the mayor's office and to the city council members. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
Abstain? Okay.
My partner's working.
No, I get it. All right, it passes 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 abstention. All right, next up, we have candidate for Ward 6 School Board, Joe Whedon.
How are you?
Oh, good. Yeah, you might want to stand over here. Yeah.
So, thank you, commissioners. Thank you for giving me a couple of minutes today. Everyone, thanks for being here. I'm Joe Whedon. I'm the current Ward 6 representative on the State Board of Education. I am running for re-election. I'm on the ballot November 6th. The State Board oversees a lot of policy-level decisions, and I'm proud of our record on improving residency regulations, uncovering some of the graduation scandals, and pushing those issues. But I really want to talk about moving forward. We've got great schools in all parts of Ward 6, but we need to continue to invest and do better. Far too often, our schools are lacking resources. We're not investing equitably across our communities. And most importantly, for this neighborhood, I think our middle schools are not good enough, and here, the middle school does not exist. I've been a strong advocate, worked for nearly 10 years to build middle schools in Ward 6 and across the city. We've seen tremendous growth at Jefferson and Elliott Hine, where my kids attend. And we need to see the same investment here. A strong community has clear pathways for students. I believe that we need to invest in our neighborhood schools, ensure that they are strong, and that every family feels like they have a great choice. I'll be going through, I mentioned my daughter's in 8th grade this year at Elliott Hine. I'll be going through the lottery in just a few weeks. I think Eastern is a choice for me, but for so many families, they don't have a choice in their neighborhood. They have a lottery ticket. That's not right, that's not equitable, that's not just. We need to continue to invest, and I will continue to work with our communities to invest and support our neighborhood schools and ensure that all families have multiple high-quality choices. Some of the other things that I've been working on with the communities across Ward 6 and the city, independence for a state education agency, OSSI as it's known, ensuring that we have true transparency and accountability for data and can make good informed decisions. Working with council members Robert White and Mary Che on a research collaborative, increase the capacity so that we know what's working and what's not to inform our policy decisions. Working with local school communities to invest and identify ways to ensure we have technology in all our schools. Number of other things. I don't really want to take, I'd rather, if there's any questions, address those. The last thing I think I would talk about, safety, safe passage for our students. I know that's something that's on the agenda here tonight. We've got to do more to ensure that our schools can travel to and from home, to and from school safely, especially in a city that has so many students commuting across long distances to attend school. Often early, as young as 3, 4 years old, our students are traveling across the city. Once they reach 5th, 6th grade, they're often traveling alone. We need to ensure they're safe. I've worked with A&C commissioners on walks, safe passage, speed bumps, those types of things around many of our schools to ensure that we can trust that our kids will be safe. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions the commissioners have. I'll be here all night and we'll hang out and answer any questions that anybody else has afterwards.
Shaw Middle School?
Obviously,
School.
Mr. Whedon, certainly very appreciative of your engagement on the Shaw Middle School issue. We have many people in the community that are very concerned about the fact that we spent 10 years waiting for DCPS to fulfill its promise to build a new school that would consolidate Garnett, Patterson, and Shaw Middle School. Currently, our students that are middle school age are being divided up between school, Walls, Francis Stevens, and Cardozo Education Campus. That's much too far in the minds of our parents for children at that age to be going. For many years in this neighborhood, we had a challenge in keeping young families in the neighborhood because of the quality of the elementary schools. Well, we worked hard. A lot of parents rolled up their sleeves and made a commitment to stay instead of just decamping to the suburbs. And as a result of the investments that have been made by DCPS, we have much higher quality elementary schools, so parents are comfortable with that level. But now there is a significant gap when it comes to the middle schools. And again, the city's done a good job with high schools. But the pathways, as you mentioned, aren't there currently. We went through a boundary realignment process in 2014, wherein all the parties agreed that the Shaw Middle School site was the ideal location for a center city middle school that would serve students in that feeder pattern with kids from 4 different wards, surrounding the area. And so it's not just our A&C that's affected, but A&Cs in wards 1, 2, and 5 as well that are impacted by the lack of a middle school, a community, in boundary middle school that follows that boundary realignment. So again, grateful for your engagement on the issue. I'm hearing from parents and parents groups daily in the neighborhood. We're getting ready to take certain very public actions to make it clear to the administration and to DCPS that while we certainly do support renovation and better facilities for Banneker Academic High School, it doesn't need to be at the Shaw Middle School site where we need a middle school.
No, it's a common story. I first walked into my neighborhood elementary school 14 years ago. My daughter's 14. And it was to hear the superintendent talk about closing the school. And we rolled up our sleeves. We saw tremendous growth and improvement. It's the same story that you've had here. And then we continue to see families leaving our neighborhood when the students reach 3rd grade. And that's where we're at here. In other parts of the ward, we've been able to get the investments in the facilities. We have worked year after year to get a feasibility study in the budget, and DCPS continues to ignore us and not conduct that study. I'm appalled that we haven't moved forward, and I will continue pushing to have a clear pathway through graduation for the students here at Shaw. It's how we build communities. It's how we ensure our students are able to grow and have those relationships that they need to succeed. I'm a firm advocate for our neighborhood middle schools. If I can help in any way with the PR, with the advocacy, please let me know. I know we've spoken a few times, but I'm right there with you.
Thanks for your support.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Mr. Reed, could you talk a little bit, last time we spoke about, oversight of charter schools. If you could speak a little bit more on that.
Yeah, so I think much of this, the state board doesn't have direct oversight of either DCPS or the public charter schools. The mayor is accountable for schools in Washington, D.C. She appoints the chancellor, she appoints the members of the charter school board. She also appoints the head of OSSE, or State Education Agency. I've been working with a number of council members to move some of the authority and increase oversight of that state education agency. I think we need to improve and increase the oversight of our schools, public and public charters. Just on the middle school issue alone, we have 2 middle schools in Ward 6. We need to build one here in Shaw. We have about 250 students at the 2 schools that are being invested in, being renovated, Elliott Hine and Jefferson, 250 each, 500 students. Both of those schools are going to grow to about 600 students each. Plus we add Shaw Middle School. Yet the public charters have identified Ward 6 as a green zone for expansion. We don't have enough kids to adequately support all 3 plus public charter schools. So we've got to find a way to collaborate across sectors so that we're right-sizing and building pathways that are sustainable. It's not enough to invest and build a building. We've got to have enough students in it so that we have the programming and the resources we need. Because I'm a parent, 2 weeks ago my daughter came home with a new schedule. And in that schedule she lost 30% of her instructional time in science and social studies. That same thing's happening in 7 middle schools across the city because those schools are too small for DCPS to fund adequately and fund enough teachers. So we're fighting to get that changed, and I hope to have something from DCPS by the end of the week in fixing this issue. But it's outrageous that students are getting 70% of the curriculum in social studies and science. So building Shaw is not enough. We've got to build it and have enough students here. So we've got to have collaboration across the 2 sectors. Ultimately, that's the mayor that we need to hold accountable for that. But we also need to work with the education committee on the council to really make sure they're asking the right questions. And I think we're hopefully moving in a direction where that will happen.
Well, yeah, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, if you can stick around and
I'll
answer
stick around
questions.
and be available afterwards.
Fantastic. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Monument Realty.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You me stand up?
You can. I kind of moved it a little bit so like the camera could catch, you know. You stand a little closer.
Catch my good side, right?
That's right, that's right.
Catch my good side. So good evening, first of all, my name is LaRuby May. I'm joined by my team member, Tion Jones. I want to first thank the commission for allowing us to come here to present. And so some of the commissioners and some of the community may be wondering why we're here trying to present on 2 Patterson, because 2 Patterson is not located in 6E. 2 Patterson is actually located in 6C. It's actually 6C06. But so I want to introduce our team. So again, my name is LaRuby. I'm a part of a team that has a couple of local partners and 1 national partners who submitted a proposal in response to the district's desire to develop a site on 2 Patterson. Our team consists of Monument Realty, which is a DC-based development company, Morningstar Development, which is also a DC-based company, the May Firm, which is also a DC-based company, and then we have Community Housing Partners, which is a national affordable housing company that has about 6,000 affordable housing property units across the nation, and then they have about